Hello everyone, this is Sheba Joy. Welcome to my channel Zion Shekinah Official. Zion is God's dwelling place and Shekinah is God's glory. Today we're going to look into Job 28, and the last verse that struck me is I'm going to read it first, and it says Job 28:28. And this is what he says to all humanity: the fear of the Lord is true wisdom. To forsake evil is real understanding. So, we can call this sermon as the facts of God. So and actually, if I read it again, it's Job, just one verse I'm going to do it today. Job 28, verse 28. It says, and this is what he says to all humanity: the fear of the Lord is true wisdom, to forsake evil is understanding. Now let's look at what wisdom means. I did some Google, and it says that the ability to make sensible decisions and judgment because of your knowledge or experience. I didn't like this, however, because it says wisdom is nothing but you make sensible decisions and judgments, which is good, but also based on your knowledge or experience. I think that's not everything. In another context, it says the ability to make sound judgments and decisions, which is also fine, but again it says based on accumulated knowledge and experience. That's also maybe true in a bit, but not everything. Wisdom is entirely different. And here it says also in another thing, it says it's common sense, caution, acumen, foresight, insight, intelligence, judgment, poise, prudence, sanity, savvy, sophistication, and understanding. So, and then the other thing, other page also says that wisdom, the true meaning of wisdom, it says that quality or state of being wise, knowledge of what is true or right, coupled with just judgments as to action, sagacity, discernment, or insight. So, wisdom has a very profound this thing. But what does the Bible say? The Bible says that the fear of the Lord is true wisdom. Here the dictionary or the Google pages are saying that, wisdom comes from experience, wisdom comes from true knowledge, wisdom comes from when you have all these other things that you see around and all that. But what does the Bible say? The Bible says that wisdom comes from from the fear of the Lord. And it is, this is written in Job. So the fear of the Lord is wisdom, it says in Proverbs. And in many other chapters of the Bible also, it says the fear of the Lord is wisdom in other chapters. But here when we see Job writing this, that means a man suffering, a man undergoing with lot of chaos and trouble and losses and hardships and everything in a split second. What is he writing about? He says that the fear of the Lord is wisdom, and to forsake evil is real understanding. Now let's also look at evil understanding, what it means when they say what is understanding according to Google and the dictionary also. It says understanding is the knowledge that somebody has to a particular subject or situation, which is also right. And also understanding means a person who has the ability to know how other people are feeling, can forgive them if they do something wrong. That's also good. And the other meaning of understanding in another page of the Google, it says the interpretation of the Constitution based on the intent and meaning that its framers and ratifiers intended at the time it was written. Okay. Then the understanding is on another page, it says appreciate and comprehend. So appreciate and comprehend. So what does like understanding bring? Understanding has all positive things, right? How do you like understanding itself brings a positivity note there. So here Job is talking about the fear of the Lord, which is true wisdom. When can we have true wisdom? We can have true wisdom only when we have the fear of the Lord. Now, what is this fear? This fear is not about, oh, God is watching me, so I will not do this. We are not like technically thinking or technically doing this because God is seeing, so I'm not going to do that. God is seeing, so I'm going to be very traditional. Like for example, God is watching me, I'm a Christian, so I have to go to church. So let me go to church on Sunday mornings, and then I'm fulfilling my duty. It's not that. Okay, God is watching me to put tithes, so I'm going to put tithes, and so it is important. God says in the Bible I have to do it, so I'm going to do it. No, it's not that. But also the other example is, God is wanting me to do some good things so that I can get back some good things in my life. No, that is not that. So, what then is the wisdom? What then is the fear? What then is the fear of the Lord? The fear of the Lord is wisdom. The fear meaning reverence, reverence. Not the physical fear, not the mental fear, not the emotional fear, not any other fears that the carnal mind thinks about. This fear is connected to spirituality. This fear of the Lord is connected to spirituality. This fear of the Lord is connected to spiritual connection between God and man. This fear is connected to spiritual embodiment between God and man. This fear of the Lord is a portrayal, about God and in relationship to man. Now, when we think about God, why does the Bible say we must fear God? The reason the Bible says we must fear God is because we must fear him in reverence. Reverence meaning because of who God is actually, not what he is going to do. That is a different section altogether. But who he is a holy God. He is a righteous God. He is a good God. He is a magnanimous God. He is a God of power, strength, and authority. And he is a God who is the creator of the universe. So, in that position, we must think about who God is. And then the reverence for God grows. Right? For example, I'm not going to take, like totally like pinpoint, but for some religions don't have the fear of their gods only because their gods themselves would have done something wrong. Their gods go and kill other people. Their gods go and lust after other women. Gods go and have adultery relationships with other women. Their gods go and do all sorts of things that actually humans do on the earth. So that kind of thing doesn't bring any kind of like reverent fear in them. That only brings a fear of the mind, which is carnal. Carnal mind brings that kind of fear. Oh, he has done that, so maybe he will do that to me. That is what they think about. That is what their fear is when they worship those gods. But we have to think about the God, the only living God, who is very, very, very holy. Even if we think and say that he is holy, we will not be able to understand till we see him in glory. Because he is a God seated on the heavens. He is the God, the living God, who is without sin. He has not done anything to gain power. He has not done anything wrong to gain power. He has not done anything right or wrong to, achieve followers. He has not done anything wrong to, bring people and say that he is God. It was his way of showing that he is God by his holiness and righteousness that tells the world that he is the only God who is the right God. Why? Because he did not sin in any way at all. He did not go for power. He did not go and kill other people. He did not go and lust. He did not go and commit adultery. He did not go and do anything. He was spotless and blameless. And some people actually, when they say, he couldn't even pull out like 3 nails from his from him when they nailed him to the cross. So what kind of God is he? They say that. Ante in Telugu, I've heard like on the reels they say ఆయన 3 మేకులు కూడా పీకోలేని మనిషి ఆయనేం దేవుడు, like that. So they mock God like that. But do they because in their minds also their gods have done something evil, or to show power they have done those things. So they don't understand about forgiveness of our God to people. They don't understand the righteousness of God. So they will think in their mind, and it's okay, because it's meaning okay is we must forgive them, because they don't have any knowledge about who our God is, what holiness is all about, what righteousness is all about. So they see power as something to to beat someone or to do something wrong and get that power, or to bribe. They've seen that kind of things with their gods, and so they think that our God is incapable of bringing him down, with even though they put him they nailed 3 nails on him, and because he claims that he is God, he can do that. But if he's not doing this, then he is not God. That is what they say. But and why do they say, like I said, because they say that because they've seen their people, their deities do that, and they've been tutored and monitored and taught like that from their birth. But our God is a God of righteousness and holiness. And why did he not come down? He says, right there, if I call on the angels, they will be like legions of angels to come down and rescue me. But that is not the purpose that I'm here on the earth. I'm here to take out not 3 nails from my body, but so that these nails don't go and pierce you guys. So that is what our God is. So that because we have to be saved from from our sins and all that, he bore our sins on him and he saved the world. So it is that kind of thing. And recently actually I was little like not upset, but I was little angry also, because there was one wrong phone call that came on my phone, and I was expecting I was expecting a lady by the name Christian. Her name is Christian, and when she called, I didn't have her number, so she was supposed to call me, and I know that her name is Christian. So when I picked up the phone, I thought it was her, and I said, oh, are you Christian? And then she said, in Telugu, she said, chichi kadu, she said. So then I said, I was so, I didn't like that, So immediately I knew that was a wrong number, that someone just called me for that. Because I know a Christian would call me. She's a Christian and the name is also Christian. And but when she said that, chichi kadu, she said. And then immediately I knew that she was of a different religion. So I told her like on point. I said, see, enduku chichi మీరు రాళ్ళు రప్పలకి మొక్కుతారు, మా జీవం కలిగిన దేవుణ్ణి చీచి అంటారు. చెట్లని పాములను మొక్కుతారు, మా జీవం కలిగిన దేవుణ్ణి చీచి అంటారు. మీ రిలీజన్లో అదే నేర్పించిండ్రా, ఒక రిలీజన్ని చీచి అనడం? So what I said is, you bow down to all these idols, trees and worship, snakes and worship, idols and worship. But when you hear our God's name, or not even the name, just that word Christian, you are it's like you're almost like spitting on that name. How dare, I said, how dare, why do you do that? And I said, does your religion teach this? If your religion is true, you shouldn't be doing this. Does it teach this way? And immediately she was like, no, actually I meant to say I'm not, but I said, no. It came out from my mouth like that. I said, why would it come out from your mouth like that? I mean, if you knew how to respect other, leave alone liking or disliking. If you knew how to respect other religions, you wouldn't have said this in the first place. Because I don't say to a Hindu or a Muslim, chichi and all that. I never say that. But because, then I told her, I actually preached on the phone. I told her, we are all one, made in the image of God, I said. We are all created by God who is in heaven, the living God. And I said, when we are created by Him, that's why we have the same blood. It is red. It is not red, purple, pink, blue because we belong to different religions, or we don't look different because we are different people. Right? But it's a different matter. When we have the Spirit of God, the light is shown in our lives and in our faces, right? But it's not that with the heathens, though they so anyway, that's a different subject. But so I told her, because we're made in the image of God, we're made in the image of Christ. We look like Him, we are Him. I mean, we are one and the same. There are two legs, two hands, one nose, two eyes, 2 ears. For every religion, it's not like that. You guys have 3 eyes, 3 ears, 4 legs, whatever it is. It's not like that, right? So to show that unity, to show that we're all one, God created us in all that one thing. And then she said, she also said that, so why do you convert? Then why do you convert? I said, no, we don't convert. I told her, see, in our religion itself, there are many who don't understand about Christianity, Christ and all that. And we're actually battling that. It's a headache for us to teach them. And why would we convert you guys? There is no need for us to do any kind of conversion to you guys, because that's not the agenda we have. Maybe some religions have that because of their teachings in that religion. We don't have that. See, and I said, you ask any converted person if they were forced to convert. When the answer is no, how can you blame us that? Which is right. And also you can ask other people if they were beaten or given money, or that is what you're doing, a lot of propaganda and all that stuff, and blaming and telling lies, burning the churches, killing the pastors. If that is what is happening, then you can ask the convert, why aren't you not going to the converted people, targeting them or asking them, and but you're coming into churches and doing all this. I mean, why this? And then I said, see, there is only one thing. And she didn't say anything. And she's like, no, we know that some people give rice and all that stuff to convert. I said, no, they don't give rice to convert. They see that they are people who come into church, whether they are poor or middle class or rich, they feed them. That is the love of God. That is how we serve people. Then she was like, she said many things, man. She said, so it was actually a very good conversation with her, and for almost like 30 to 40 minutes. Then she also said that I'm not able to remember all this now, but she also said something like we don't eat their prasadam, their things that they offer to. I said, it's there in our Bible. How do you think we should despise that? And I said, if your mother says don't eat any, if you're a Brahmin and if your mother says, your parents tell you don't eat meat, will you go and eat meat? Aren't you following your stuff there? So what's wrong if we follow our stuff? Our stuff, the word of God says we should not eat anything that is offered to the idols. So we don't eat it. You also do that. You don't eat any meat. Brahmins don't eat any meat, and that's fine with us. We're not saying why shouldn't you eat it, right? So there should be tolerance, and there should be, see, I said a religion should teach tolerance, kindness, goodness towards others, but not bring disharmony, hatred, and all that stuff. And then she was like, what is your name? And I told her my name. My name is Sheba. And she said her name is Sindhuja. And I said, she's in Vishakhapatnam, Vizag. I told her I'm in Hyderabad. We almost became like, kind of like friends, after I spoke to her and we talked, and she said a lot of my, doubts have been cleared and all that. Then she also said, why do people give pamphlets and all that, Bibles and all that, standing on the roads and in the colonies and all that? I said, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? She said, no, but that's also conversion. I said, no, that's not conversion. Just because I give you a book to read, and if you don't, and whether you read it or not is not my thing, but if you read it, it's for your own good. If you don't read it also, it's not, I'm not forcing you to take that book or the pamphlet, right? So we're just giving. You can also give your things. You're not doing it. But when we give, you're blaming us. No, we don't want to do that kind of conversion, she said. And I said, this is not conversion at all. We are giving those books so that you can see actually what is in our religion. What does our faith talk about? We are not asking you to convert. We are not asking you to change into our religion. We are asking you to see what we believe in, first of all, before misunderstanding us. And that is why we give. And then she talked about schools also. She said, oh, in your missionary schools, you have morning prayers, you have, Bible stories there, you have, Christian dramas and everything from the Bible played and enacted and all that. What is that? Is it that not called conversion? And I said, wait a minute. I told her, our schools are built for our children, Christian students. But if you guys, knowing that our schools bring a lot of education, good, they provide good English, they teach good English, there is a very good standard in our schools and all that, there's very good discipline and all that. If you guys come and enroll, we don't stop you guys. We are not wicked like that. We don't say we are here only to give education to our Christian students. It's for our children, not for you guys. But you come and enroll yourselves. You come and come there because of your selfish reasons, and later on after taking education, you become doctors, you become engineers, you become, you're in high posts and all that stuff, in government jobs and all that, and then you come back and say that we're converting because you have studied in a Christian youth school, or your children are studying. I said, that's very wrong. We've not come into your houses to bring your children into our schools. And also, we have not, and I said, if that was the case, I said, and you know how much, I said, I studied in a Christian school, and our Christian school gives concession, 15% concession to all the Christians, and 10% concession to all the Hindus and Muslims. I said, we only have 5% more. Why? Because the love of Christ tells our school, our principals hold and say that, give that kind of concession. And when and your parents are like, business people. I've seen that. I told her, I've seen that all my classmates, their parents are business people, doctors, engineers, and all of them. But yet they would take that 10% concession. So what is that? Aren't you cheating, cheating and then trying to take that? It's only for the poor people, it says, but still you have taken it. And I've seen that because it is my own classmates have seen. And if you ask their parents, what are they doing? They retired as a colonel. They retired as a major. They retired as a doctor. They retired. They talk like that. So then what made you snatch that? That 10% of the money that was supposed to go to the poor. And I said, that's why we had in my school where I studied, I told her there were thousands and thousands of students in that school. And my teachers were in thousands actually. We had like 2,000 teachers from kindergarten to all the way to, I think 1,800, from kindergarten to all the way to 10th. And then again, intermediate and degree, we had like about, I think, 500 to 600 lecturers. No, 350 lecturers there. So what are you... I said, so, it was a very big school and all that. So we are not converting through, you should not, see, you're the ones who are sending your children into our schools, and then don't blame us for that. So then she said, we built it for ourselves and we want our children to study. So, and I told her the reason we built it for our students, our children, Christian children, is because we want them to be well trained in the Bible. So, uh, so I told her we want them to be well trained in our Bible, and also the Bible teaches us that we need to do charity. Our God teaches us that we need to be kind to the poor. We need to help the poor. So there are a lot of students who can't pay big fees, fee in, like, what is this schools, Gautam, no, what are those schools, Narayana, and the other schools which are like having children pay lakhs of rupees. It's only thousands if you come and see. If you compare, it's less than half to what you're paying in the other schools. So to show charity, to give charity, we do that. And then she was like, she was taken aback a little bit, but she also said, you speak like boldly, and you speak the right things. And then she said, yeah. I said, because these are all the right things, anyone would say them. It's not just me. Any Christian would say that. Why? Because it's the truth. It's the truth that is told. It is the truth that it is there. And then she also said about in America, like, she also compared about like why America, like USA, it's all like Christian, and India, and that's why India is all Hindu. And she also said both have, like, they're very, like, that country has democracy, and we also have democracy, but still they follow. I said, no, it's not like that. I said, no, it's not like that. USA is the only, it's not like entire country is not Christians at all. If you go and see, only maybe little more than half are Christians, but not the entire country, because the entire country doesn't believe. Actually, most of them are atheists, and if they believe in something, they believe in some power or something like that, which is very diluted in their faith and all that stuff. But it is not, they're not Christians, I said. But because it was founded on the principles of God, principles from the Bible, that country has been walking in the principles of the Bible. Okay, so it is not about a Christian country or a Hindu country or a Muslim country. It's not about that. Because they have taken the principles from the Bible, they have been walking in that. And because they have been walking in that, people know that these principles are from the Bible, and they call it a Christian country. So what's wrong in that if you follow something good? I asked her. And I said, India being you can call India a Hindu country, because the laws and the amendments and everything were given by the British. Also, the laws of the country says very nominal humanitarian laws, not a law which is brought by the Hindu, or not by a law which is brought by any other religion. No, it is not that. Even a Christianity law doesn't work here, and Hinduism law cannot be incorporated, nor a Islam law cannot be incorporated in here. It is all about the humanitarian legal rights and laws we have here, which were brought by even Ambedkar also, right? So when I told her that, then she said, what about, like, this Saudi and all that? They also, so not, when no one says anything to them, why should you guys say anything to India? I said, no, Saudi and all that, they follow their Quran laws. Okay, in their Quran it is said that if someone does anything wrong to a neighbor, cut off their hands. It says there in their Quran, and so they cut off their hands. If they follow that, and you're going and living in their country and say their laws are bad, you must be insane, I said. Then don't go into that country. Don't go there. Then also I told her, and then they say, if someone kills another one, kill that person also. They kill that person also in jail. So they have those laws from their book, When they follow their laws from their book, you and I should not have any problem. Why? Because we should be the peacemakers in this world, and we should know how to respect other religions. See, if they're coming and doing that in our country, we would be then we should raise a voice. But if they're not doing that in our country, you know, then we have no right to say anything to them. So likewise, we guys go into US and do all these pujas on the roads, all these nonsense on the roads. I mean, even I told her, like, the Hindus, they themselves are saying, what kind of drama is it? When you're in Rome, behave like a Rome. Some guy and other women also commented on some, like, one big procession they had, taking Ganesh Chaturthi that time, when they took that idol on the road. And they commented that, see, you can't do that, right? You can't break the laws of that country because of your religion. And that is very bad. That is disrespecting the country and the laws and its legal things. So I told her that. And I said, here also, if they come and do anything like that, wrong things, we are ready to oppose that, and we are ready to condemn that. Aren't we? Don't we do that? And then she was like, yeah, but I don't know, but there are a lot of other things. And I said, no, see, everything that you said, we discussed, and this is what it is. And I said, I'm not being biased. Even in Islamic countries, they do it from their book called Quran. Whatever is written on that, they follow that. And also they have some legal, very strict laws also. It's not like India. The rapist is put in the jail and that's it. But there, they will castrate him. So their laws are very strict, and that's why the crime rate is also very less. And I'm not saying we should take that on. What I'm saying is, even we have good laws in India, but they are not followed, or they are bribed or manipulated. So I told her that, and she was I think content talking to me, and she said she'll call me for some more doubts. I said, please do. I said, I'm here anytime to clear your doubts, and I think we are not here to, do. I told her we are friends, and reminded her again that we are created by God. We did not, and I said, we did not come from monkeys. And she said, no, we also don't believe that, but I don't know why these textbooks are saying that we come from the monkeys because of Darwin and all that stuff. I said, no, he said that, and he took it back. And she's also, educated person. And so I told her it's not that we can, discuss all these things. And actually she's a lawyer, she's a lawyer. So it was very nice talking to her. She also was like, Sheba, I think we are friends now. And I said, yeah, for sure. And I said, do you have any doubts and all that, please, tell me. And in the end, what she said, my son has been failing intermediate, like, for almost like 3 or 4 times. And can you please pray, she said. And I said, for sure, I'll do that. And I said, can I pray now with you? And she said, yeah, let me call my son. So I was like, fine. And then she was telling him on the phone, like I could hear, she said to him, don't say this to your father that you got prayed for. And I prayed for him, and then it was nice. So he's going to write his supplementary exams again, I think in the month of August or September, whenever they have it. So this is what happened. So what I'm saying is, my God, if this example has become like too long. Where are we? So the true wisdom comes with reverence of knowing who our God is. True wisdom. We fear, the wisdom, the fear of the Lord is wisdom, right? So the wisdom comes when we give reverence to God, when we give reverence to knowing who our God is. Because when we know who our God is, like I said before, holy and all that, when we know. And from that, we can understand. Because the Google pages and the dictionary says that we get understanding by the knowledge we have, by the way we see things, by experience and all that. All might be a little snippets of understanding things. But when we have the wisdom of God, any problem can become a positive solution for us. Meaning, when we fear God, what do we do? He gives us, when we have God in our lives, He gives us wisdom. When that wisdom is there, we go and ask God, what should we do about this problem? And what does He do? In His might, in His strength, He will take it up to solve it. Right? Maybe we can do some things here and there, but He is the ultimate God. His hand will be on that, and He is the one who's going to solve it. So then we have the understanding. Or sometimes, if they're really severe, if there's with the wicked people and all that, or with the other things, sometimes we have a little decision to make. For example, um, they say buy a Kelvinator fridge, and some say no, buy a Samsung fridge. Then we don't go and ask God and sit in the prayer for hours together. He gives, because we already have the wisdom of God. We know how to make the right judgment. What do? We do little research, right? We understand the product well, which gives good shell life, which runs well, which can take voltage fluctuations, which will be long lasting, can run long, which will consume less electricity. So all those things we will have better understanding to that, and then we buy the fridge, whether it's Kelvinator, whether it's Samsung, whether it's LG, whether it's whatever it is, right? So that kind of understanding we get. Why? The bottom and the basic thing is, when we have the wisdom of God. The wisdom of God comes when we have the fear of God. And the fear of God, and when we do that, and we have the wisdom of God, our understanding becomes very clear. Understanding becomes like the understanding that comes from God also, that comes from God actually, mainly, because we can understand like heights and widths and all that of any subject, right? Be it science, be it math, be it law, be it medicine, be it anything, we can understand, we can read and understand. But how does that even function? What are the things that go into functioning of those things? How do we understand them? Or when any conflict comes, how do we understand? What is the motive behind that conflict? Who are these people who are saying such dirty words to us? Who are these people who are attacking us? Why? Then we will know that these people have lot of insecurities. They're evil, they're wicked. So, and then what do? According to the weight of the problem, or the weight of the scenario or the situation, we give it to God, or we deal it in a different way, where God gives us the understanding to deal it in a different way, right? So this is what understanding comes in place when we have the fear of God. And the fear of God gives us immense wisdom. See, King Solomon in the Bible, he did not ask for any kind of things. He did not say, see, after David, you made me the king, and I don't know how to, even, he didn't know how to go for war. He was not trained for that. So he was like, to run a kingdom, should you not hold a sword? You should. That's a mandate. That's a very important thing. But he didn't know all those things. So he says, Lord, this kingdom has been given to me. But how do I go about ruling that? And what did God do? Because you asked not money or other things and all that, you asked something for the people, and that is wisdom, I'm going to grant that. And he was a most wisest man in all the earth, it says, right? So that is how, of course, later life he fell, not because the wisdom of God was less, or not because the wisdom was God was not there, but it was there, but it was again polluted and destroyed by the devil, evil. Right? The devil, the Satan knows when there's a mandate when there's a significance about God's plans and wishes and things on a person, he knows how to crumble them. He knows how to destroy them. He knows how to do that. But will he succeed? No, he will not succeed, because when God put a stamp on that man or the woman to accomplish what he wants to accomplish in our lives, he will God will definitely make that happen, no matter what. Because again, what happens in that, we have to understand this. Though the devil comes to try to steal, kill, and destroy, though he tries to know, and he only goes after people who have a mandate in the kingdom, who have a big calling in the kingdom to serve God and his people. Those are the people that this devil comes, this Satan comes to attack. But when he comes to attack, he sees the stamp already on from God on our lives. When he sees that, he disturbs us. How? Bringing other kinds of nonsense things into our lives. But when the stamp is there, can that be erased? It was a stamp, it was the hand of God in our lives, so that nothing can happen. Yes, we will feel little shaken. Yes, might all those things, troubles and problems may come, but eventually God is the one who's going to get us out from that. Because why? It is a spiritual force. And who is our God? Our God is a spirit. So he is going to bring us out from that, knowing that he has called us for his purpose, and he will bring it to accomplishment. What he started, he will finish, he said, right? So there is nothing to, we just need to be here on the earth binding the Satan, binding the Satan and binding the Satan. That is all we need to do. Because rebuking, why? Because see, when Jesus also was tested, why? Because Satan knew that when Jesus came on the earth to minister to people, so that the world will know, who God is, and the love of God, the mercy of God, the justice of God, the righteousness of God, all that they will know. Because he didn't want, he wanted this world to be a sinful world, a wicked world, he tried to stop Jesus himself. But what did Jesus do? He rebuked the Satan. He said, "Get thee behind me." So this is what it is, with us. When we have the wisdom of God, can come only with the fear of God, not the carnal fear, not the fear of the mind or mental and emotional. All those fears are not for God. It's for people, but not for God. But when the wisdom of God comes, there is also a divine understanding about many things in our lives, And people sometimes, believe it or not, I'm not boasting, but these people around me, my neighbors and all that, who have done so much harm to us, so much, and are still doing it, they're very wicked and all that. But in spite of all that, they wonder, how is it that I'm handling all these things alone? It's not me. It is my God who is standing with me and is doing those things. It's not me. I am so limited, because in my power, can I even go and think what they're doing or what they have done or what they're going to do and all that? No. I just ask my God to take care of those things, and he's already doing that. So that also will make people around us understand who God is. There's a verse actually I want to read. The other day I was reading and it was so beautiful. It's I think it is where did it go? Like it says God where was that? It's a very nice word. Like, God turns away from the people who don't follow him. His mercy is gone. His mercy is not shown to them, it says. How dreadful that is, isn't it? If his mercy is not shown to people like that. Was it in Daniel, I think? I don't know. But it should be somewhere in like Jonah, I think. Jonah, because wait, let me find that for you. Where is that? Because Jonah disobeys God, right? He doesn't go there. But see, I'm reading from NLT, and I don't like this version, because it's very easy. If something is very easy, I read it like a novel. I can ponder, I can think, and all that. So this is my new Bible. I like it very much because I've seen some contents in this are very good, but it's an NLT. I thought it was NIV. I think I ordered for NIV, but I got an NLT with the same, contents that I wanted. But so it's very easy to read, and some of these things are not even like, it's actually very easy. This language, this version is really easy. This is the first time actually I'm reading following an NLT All this while I used to follow NIV. For some days I followed KJV, but uh, NLT is one. But it's okay, because if God has to speak, He will speak. When God is speaking, He will speak through His Spirit, right? So it doesn't matter the language. But I just need to put put a brakes on my reading the Bible, because this is a very easy language for me, and I read it really fast, and I don't want that. I'm trying to stop at each verse and then ponder and think. So, so the verse I'm talking about, here, yes, I got it. Praise God. Jonah chapter 2, verse 8. Those who worship false gods turn their backs on all God's mercies. Those who worship false gods turn their backs on all God's mercies. Meaning, those who worship false gods, what will God do? He will turn back His back, and His mercies will not be given to them. Now, what gods are these? Not their deities or idols, or not that. Also those, but also the other gods which God is talking about. It might be money for them, it might be lust for them, it might be power for them, it might be any wicked things, or it might be breaking all the 10 commandments from 1 to 10, and it might be all the sins of the world that they're trying to do. So those become their gods. Actually, when wicked sin, they sin thinking that it is their god. They have to do that, they have to obey those things, they have to go. Why? Because Satan is ruling them. So they become their gods, right? They become their gods. These things, all these sinful things become their gods. It's not just the deities or the idols, but it's sinful things that become their gods. Lust for power, money, and also flesh, and also adultery, and also fornication, murder. All these things become their gods. So when those people do this kind of things, what is God saying in Jonah 2 verse 8? He's saying that, I'll read it very slow. See, there's a problem, because NLT is so easy, it just goes off like that, like reading. So here it says, those who worship false gods turn their backs on all God's mercies. So they themselves have turned their backs on all God's mercies. That means God can they are not liable for God's mercy. They're saying that we have gotten these gods in our lives, we don't want you. So we don't want your mercy also if we sin and fall into problems. Or when we sin and fall into problems, they're saying that they don't want God's mercy also. So that kind of wickedness and sinfulness enters them, and that is what they're up to. So it is very important to understand, the wisdom of God, the understanding, that He puts in us through His Holy Spirit, and then walk by His ways. A virtuous woman, Proverbs 31, I think, says, a virtuous woman is wise. She has a lot of wisdom. She runs her family well. She takes care of the in-laws. She takes care of the husband. She takes care of the parents very well. She is wise. She works hard. She does things that are right in the sight of God. And then she runs the family with prudence, it says. So, may the Lord give us that wisdom, and also, just having the fear of God is so important, that reverent fear. So may the Lord bless this word, and thank you so much for listening.